Thanks, Osama. And absolutely, yes, you cannot run from India, especially you. Okay, a really privileged to be here today. Thank you, Osama, and to DF for the opportunity. You know, one of the most game-changing initiatives that I feel that the government of India is undertaking is the National Optic Fiber Network. And I cannot thank Mr. Ravi Shankar enough for conceptualizing, not just conceptualizing, but taking it from a concept to actual deployment in record time. And as long as he's there, I know this is real. I know this is going to happen. Osama talked about BPL, right, the below poverty line, the concern with BPL in India, the large segment. I think, call it self-enlightened interest, if you will, but anyone who has an interest in India, whether as a market or whatever, has to care. That has to care and has to get involved, because if something is not done about the huge gap between the haves and have-nots in India, it's going to have a far more damaging impact on the economy of this country, the market prospects of this country, than anything else that we are worried about today. So we have to care. So our goal is very simple. The government is doing a lot of work in terms of laying out the national optic fiber, and that's the best opportunity they can create. As a corporate, it is our duty to leverage that opportunity and make sure we do something good with it. So I'll give you an example of Intel. We've launched something called Follow the Fiber. As Mr. Ravi Shankar lays out the fiber and it goes into the villages, we will work to get into these villages, as many as we can, and see how we can turn into reality the concept of one illiterate person per household, which, by the way, is India's goal for our national IT agenda. So, but we cannot do this on our own. We are Intel. We don't really understand what's going on in the villages. We don't understand the people there. And this is where Osama and DEF plays an extremely critical role. They have a pulse of what's going on in the village. How can we take technology in a way that is relevant to the farmer or the small businessman or the housewife in that village? And they help us bridge that gap. So this has to be a collaboration where everybody, government, corporate, NGOs, need to come together and figure out how do we make technology relevant to these people, and how do we ensure that there is impact. So we're working with DEF, we've picked 3 villages, and we're working with DEF to set up training centers where the village nominates 1 person per household to come and get trained. They get trained, and we will follow up with them to see how they use that training and what is the impact. What happens when one village has every household trained, or 1 person in every household illiterate? What does it mean for the village? What does it mean in terms of improvements in their ability to earn, or improvement in their abilities to communicate? And very interestingly, there was one village of one of the 3 pilots, Inaugral. Everybody talks about how technology helps them get better jobs. This village, they welcomed the initiative because they thought it's a way for them to keep the young people from leaving the village. Because technology will bring in education, it will bring in entertainment, and they said, okay, this will help keep the young people back. So, that brings me to my last point. We can do all this, but we cannot sustain it unless you have change agents on the ground, in the village, who believe in the power of technology, who believe in what it can do, and become the champions for it in their community. And I think the most important thing we can do is create the champions. It's not the training centers, it's not the computers, it's not the broadband, but it's creating these champions and then equipping them with the right tools so they can go and bring about that quiet revolution in the village. And we are being very successful. We've managed to create quite a pool of such people for a long time and working with partners like DEF, who are today taking that cause forward in a way that is so much more relevant than we can ever hope to do. So, as I said, this has to be about partnership. This has to be about a common goal that we should not just care about, but that should scare us, that if we do not do this, this impacts everybody's future success. And this should involve a very high level of urgency. The time is now. If we do not act now, we are heading towards a future which is not going to look that good. So I'm really privileged to be part of this forum, and I'm even more privileged to be part of this little gang that has got together to work out a solution. It's very small now, but this is where we open the doors and invite more partners to come in. And just if Intel can do 3 or 5 or 10 villages, if each of you come in and say, okay, we are going to do the same in 3 more, we're going to cover a lot of villages. If every village we light up will have an impact. So thank you very much.